Good
Hey,
morning. Good morning.
we're going to need ghost turkey ghosts floating in the front now. Get rid of the ghosts.
I'm gonna have to find them. Yeah.
If
Um,
there's such a thing.
we should do a whole podcast episode, kind of like the Ghost of Christmas Past, to go with like the Christmas Carol.
Yeah, right.
That's coming up already. Oh my
And
God.
ghosts are busy at Christmas time. They're busy at the holidays, period. So
Sure.
and Halloween just was the peak of it, the little start of it. Thanksgiving builds up, and oh, Christmas is bad.
I
And then
mean,
they love all the drinking on New Year's Eve.
I could I
Yeah,
could only imagine on that one. I was gonna say, probably loving all of the family fighting around the dinner table at Thanksgiving, because
because that's normally what it is.
I think that's why my parents subconsciously, like, we use the dinner table to put all the food at and on, but everybody eats like in the living room, like, in so we're together, but we're not at.
Looking across the table at somebody.
Yeah. And very, very rarely has there been an issue. And when there has been, it's been very minor, quick, and it's usually somebody else that was invited in, type thing.
Just
So
egged it on a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I will admit, like, one of the last times, maybe it was like Easter, because my parents, my mom had gone to Catholic school and all this and that. So we still kind of do some of the Christian holidays. I overheard my sister's boyfriend, like, how he was talking to her. Like, they were sitting on the back porch. And I remember looking at the window and I'm like, you. And before I went outside, I went to mom, like, who is he? How long's he been around? And how quick can I get rid of him? Here's why.
Yeah.
you know. And she's like, "No, your sister." And I'm like, "No, you didn't hear what I just heard."
Right, right, right. No, it's crazy because the one family, it's all rests on if so and so's invited, I'm not coming.
Oh,
Yeah, it's one of those things. So it's like, so that person has to pick and choose who do they really want there?
right,
Right.
right. All right, we got tons of good mornings. Hello,
Oh,
everybody.
good.
And I think I even saw in here and went by so fast, Sarah. It's Sarah's birthday. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And it is indeed autumn. And let me tell you, there was a little bit of slush and ice out on the cars this morning.
We didn't have it here. There were up in North Royalton yesterday. There were ice balls falling out of the sky, it's like sleety ice balls. Yeah,
Yes.
it's November.
We knew it was coming. We knew.
Unfortunately,
Happens every year, and we still complain about it.
and we still live in Cleveland. So what are you going to do?
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm still working on that part-time house down in Tucson. It's
Yeah.
waiting for me.
There you go. There you go. I want to remind everybody tomorrow is a new moon, and it peaks at 5:15 p.m. So you don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn or stay up past midnight. So it should be a pretty easy one to do across the United States, whatever time zone you're in. So this is an easy one tomorrow. And just so I don't forget, the next Zoom this month is a lunar eclipse. So anybody that's on that Zoom, information should be pretty easy to get with the eclipse.
And there's still some spaces. We got about 10 spaces or so left. So
Oh, okay.
there's a little bit of time to grab that if you want to join us. Which the link for that can be found on the website. So Sue has our first question today. It says, I'm going to pay my respects to a young man's funeral today. What is the best way to communicate to him to go into the white light? Should I say it out loud when I get to his casket, write it on a piece of paper, and put it in his coffin? Thank you.
No, Sue, if you put it in the coffin, he won't see it. Go to the foot of the casket and whisper, unless nobody's around, otherwise they'll put you in the cookie factory. But anything you say out loud, he will hear, because that is normally where they are standing. If this is you're going to be there for a while, I would do it when you first got in, and then I would do it at least one more time if you're there that long. Since they started doing these shrines with all these pictures and the videos playing on what this person did there, sometimes they are standing back there too. And the last funeral I was at, he was not standing by the foot of the casket. He was standing by where the pictures were. And there was a whole bunch of people standing around. So I just said to the lady that had invited me, I says, gosh, I know he has his white light around him. I hope he goes to it. So it was like I was talking to her, but he was hearing me. So, and of course, I can talk without talking out loud to him. And he did cross over. But you just have to say it out loud.
I could imagine any of us, like if all of us here that gather every Wednesdays, and if we were, at a funeral, it would be nothing for somebody just to stand up and make an announcement. If you're here, go there.
And you know what? And maybe at some point it'll get to that. I really don't know. But and don't forget, when they've got that white light around them, they actually start seeing people in that light that they know that are beckoning them, come in, come in. So they're getting it from both sides.
Let's see. So Melanie says, because you just mentioned Law of Abundance and New Moon, said Law of Abundance helped my daughter get a new job.
It's not always money, believe me. It is some lady got a kidney and jobs and I think there's somebody in England that's got a boyfriend down to put, that's what that person wants. So, so you could ask for anything while you're writing it out. And it's, believe me, I get letters or comments every day on how much it works.
Yeah, where is Lewis? Where's our buddy Lewis? Have to ask him, how's that going for you? Have you had any leads? Have you had anybody be like, hey there?
Yeah, right.
Where is Lewis? So I'm starting to hear the echo again, so I'm going to apologize to everybody. I spent like a good hour this morning with the new microphone, new setup. It worked last night when I was recording for the store podcast. Everything was fantastic. Doesn't want to work with this recording. So I'm trying.
Don't understand. Right. Do not understand.
You should see this rigged setup here for this microphone, because the corner of my table is beveled so it wouldn't stick. So now I have a Janet Ivanovich book that it's clamped to, that's weighted down. And
well, don't you love her books? I love her books, Ivanovich.
Here's a guilty secret. I've never read any of them. I still have books and I'm like, oh crap, how long have I had that? From when I was a Borders manager and the stores were closing down. And, books for like $1. Well, you can't tell a bookaholic that books are $1 and not expect me to go, okay, I will give you all new homes.
Right. Oh, gee.
So, yeah, I've got a hardcover of her Wicked Business.
Oh, she's good. I like her.
That's what the microphone is currently clamped to.
Okay. Good book to be clamped to.
So at some point I'll get this figured out. Let's see. So if anybody is new and joining us, please type in your questions or comments in the comment field, be it YouTube or Facebook, and we'll be able to see them. And Marianne and or I, depending on the question, will go ahead and answer you. And Heidi says she starts her new job Monday. So glad for the Law of Abundance.
Great. Some lady called and said, if you don't have anything to do tomorrow, and she called on Monday, so that would have been for yesterday. I'm going to the casino. She says, and I'll bet you that if you were with me, I'd win really, really well. Now, I don't know why she would even think that, but I just said, no, why don't you wait till after Thursday after you write your Law of Abundance? Then go to the casino. Don't go before.
Right. It's this kind of horse before the cart.
That's right.
Before the horse.
Right.
Let's see. So, morning, ladies. How was Halloween? Any interesting ghost activities you saw on the streets or at haunted houses?
We were just talking. It was, hate to say it, it was dead. There was nobody.
Pun intended.
Nobody out at all. It was so quiet. I only know one place where she went through 3 bags of candy. But everybody I talked to, and lights were on.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody came.
Well, and as I was reading that, and I'm like, oh yeah. So the Saturday evening we had a seance at the store, and it was limited to like 15 people. And Greg is the one who does it. Now his seances are kind of tame. Nothing's flying around. There's not mass chaos, right? You might hear knocking, little things like that. Lori was there doing pictures for us. And one gentleman had his father, who, towards the end of life, mental illness, and was kind of abusive in this mental illness, and came to apologize. And in that picture, you see a hand on his shoulder. Then there was another part where Greg, who has his hand and forearm resting on the table, and he's turned to look to the person next to him, his hand is all blurry, but he wasn't moving. So we had a couple fun things like that. But that was during the seance. And that was stuff that was invited in, those that have crossed over, which the Earthbounds wouldn't have been able to get into.
I was just going to say it had to be ones that crossed over because your store's totally secure.
Yeah. So that was about the only thing. But I mean, my house is so seated. Well, I shouldn't say, because it's got the one for the one door.
Well, that's all you need.
Right.
That's complete. So you're good.
Let's see. Oh, hello from California. Let's see. So, did we talk about a ghost with a knife? Follow up from the Halloween video last week. Could that ghost with the knife actually have hurt somebody?
Do you remember that story with the ghost with the knife?
I was hoping you did.
I do not remember that story. Sorry. No, it doesn't make any difference. No, a ghost cannot kill you. They can shove you, they can pull your hair, they can scratch you, they can, lay on top of you, put pressure on you, but actually kill you, no. So I'm going to go with no on that.
Let's see. Tony asks, can people who have crossed over come back and move things and appear as a shadow still? How can you tell if they are stuck here or crossed over?
It's not that they are making themselves look like a shadow. And people have to understand that is how you are seeing the person. Their energy is there, and you're not seeing a clear, like you see Melissa or I right now, you're seeing a shadow. And you are 100% correct. Just because you see shadow people does not mean they're bad. And yes, that could be, think of the date. Is it somebody's birthday? Is it the day they died? Is it your birthday? Is it a holiday? Are they visiting for one of those reasons? The other thing that might give you a hint, is there an odor that you're smelling, a perfume that maybe only grandma wore, or an aftershave that dad wore, Old Spice? Is that what you smell? That would be a day he's visiting. So that's how you can tell, usually, if it's somebody that has crossed over, and they are more the pat on the cheek, put the covers up around you, pat your hair. Those are more what they do. They will never do anything to scare you, never from the light.
There's also, I don't, if you're sensitive to the energy feeling, you can usually kind of feel a difference. For me, at least, those that have crossed over tend to be more, you either almost kind of don't notice them because it's such a small shift, like comforting or warm type feel. It's nice, it's pleasant. Earthbound feels chaotic, staticky, not pleasant.
Right. It's the one, if it's one that is not from the light, when you're walking down the hallway, it's like you turn around to see, somebody following me? Or somebody that is earthbound, you're at the kitchen sink peeling potatoes, and all of a sudden it's like geez, I'm home alone. Why is somebody staring at me? Or you're in the shower and you think somebody's watching you. I can assure you, somebody from the light would not do that. Never.
Right. So I'm sorry, we can't see your name, but it says Facebook user wanted to know if my mom was buried with her mother's ring. She died October 7th. That's hard to do over this
Yeah, you know, there's no way for me to tell in this format. You would either have to be on Zoom or I'd have to talk to you from your house.
Let's see. Karen, Billy, and Mike says, I've been having a horrid time sleeping all night. I wake up at 1, 3, and I'm exhausted. Is something paranormal around me?
You know what? A lot of times when you've got earthbound spirits in the house and they are in the bedroom at night, you do not sleep well. Or even if you do sleep soundly, you still wake up very, very tired. That is why my dream bags that have the mugwort in that help you remember your dreams, there is a quince seed in them. And the only reason I put them in there is that it's the mugwort that helps you remember your dreams, and the other things I have in there that if you have insomnia or you have a hard time sleeping, it will help you do that. But with the quince seed in the dream bag, at least if you've got any earthbound spirits in the house, they can't get close to you. So you would sleep better and you wouldn't have bizarre dreams.
So here's a fun thing. Coins and Ghouls says, good morning, ladies. I have so many issues remembering my dreams pretty much every night. I don't even remember my early part of life. Is there something wrong with me?
You know what? I think some people just block all kinds of things. Isn't it funny that people that had wonderful childhoods can remember every holiday, every fun thing they did with their parents or grandparents, but people that weren't that lucky and didn't have that good of a childhood or a rougher childhood, they don't remember what happened to them. Now, I'm not saying you had a bad childhood, don't get me wrong, but some people just absolutely have no recall for something like that. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the ghost. It's pretty much you. You know, you're just not open enough to remember. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, Melissa. Is there a stone somebody could carry to remember? I don't really know.
I mean, there's stones to remember, but at this point, this is where you would want to get kind of deeper underneath. Like, if it's a choice to forget them because maybe it was painful or hurtful, it's kind of getting down in there and kind of healing it to where you're in a place to where you're ready to start kind of going there. And excuse me, this could also be a point of making sure you're not on any medication that's going to kind of hinder dream recall or memory. But usually that was only dream, not memory. So in this instance, I would almost say like having healing sessions would be more.
Yeah, that might be beneficial.
You know, the stones.
Or, you know, maybe being hypnotized too would unblock something. That's a possibility too. And if you can find somebody that's really good at that, you know, that might be really helpful.
Yes. And do your research. We do have a couple of really good hypnotherapists that are also trained in another type of healing. But do your research wherever you're at on the hypnotherapist. There's.
Make sure.
Yeah.
Make real sure.
Yes.
And my personal opinion, regression, it works. I've been regressed because I had issues I needed answers to, and got to admit I didn't find them, but it was interesting. I found a hypnotist or a hypnotherapy person that when she took you back, she didn't make you go through the birth canal again and be reborn. That is totally, in my opinion, unnecessary. Why would anybody ever want to go through that again? And so it does not have to be done that way. I would keep searching for somebody that didn't do it that way.
Oh, our favorite places, B&Bs or DMBs. Kelly says, hello, I was at your event at Goddess Elite Sunday prior to Halloween, and I had a question about earthbound spirits. You talked about how spirits feed off of negativity. Do we have any here at work? I'm at the license bureau, and there's always negativity here. We could be a buffet.
Yeah, exactly right. And I know some of the bureaus have adopted a new policy where it doesn't seem like you're waiting there for hours to get waited on. But nobody has patience anymore. And while somebody is standing there, the building's being cursed, and everybody that works there is being cursed, and the government's being cursed. They're angry at everybody on top of having to pay to get your driver's license. So, and then the picture, who wants to do all that? So yeah, that is definitely one place that is very, very negative. And I would seriously, if you work there, I would seriously have a Quincy charm on you so you don't bring it home with you.
So Swifty had a question since I mentioned the seance at the store. Can I get a seance at your store to contact my uncle? Two quick things. Good mediums can't always guarantee that they're going to talk to whoever you want to talk to, right? Just because you call somebody doesn't mean they're going to answer their phone. So there's that. I was actually texting Greg while we were doing this for a minute, and he would be willing to do this, but you would still have to have a minimum of 7 people. So to come through. Normally when we do the ones in the store, we limit it to about 15, and anybody and everybody can come in. So it's kind of fun that way, but you would need kind of like 7 family members or 7 friends of the family coming in to create that energy. There would be a cost, but if anybody's interested in that, darn that echo, contact the store. Greg is booked up till like maybe December into January already. He's a busy guy because he's good at what he does. So there is that. And we have the link for our podcast on there. If you're a podcast fan, Marianne and I, we have our podcast that go out the first and third Wednesdays of the month. So it just went live today.
Yes, and please keep in mind we are not floundering, but this is a work in progress. Okay, this is that's so out of my comfort zone. I don't know about this. I'm going to give it a couple more weeks and let's see how it does. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
You know, even the big popular podcasts that have been around for years, if you go back and listen to their very first ones, their audio is bad. They stumble. You know, so it's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. The hard part right now for me is like, okay, what topic is next?
Yeah. I have to be careful because I've been reminded from a couple folks now that have listened to the podcast that, you know, there's over, I don't know, I would imagine over 150 YouTubes by now. And the information that we've been giving out at the podcast can actually be found on my YouTubes. So we somehow we've got to come up with, I don't know. We're working on it. We are definitely working on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny. Lori, who's one of the readers for the store, and she does a lot of the social media for me now. She's got an uncle or something that owns a restaurant. And so I told her, I'm like, hey, we're looking for places. So we may have a lead in to actually go into a place before opening after close and talk with him and maybe be able to record that. So that could be an interesting.
And I have, you know, I've done so many sports people that are on TV on some kind of ball games, and beside people in entertainment, people in radio, I've done so many of these people's houses, and I have reached out, but you know, they're fine talking to me and it's fine to come out to the house. But oh no, they're not going to come out and talk about it because just in case somebody hears it that they know, and they can't come on and be anonymous. We have to say who they are. So it's it's becoming a challenge right now. Let me just put it that way.
We just need to find some of these celebrities who are into the paranormal and who won't care, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Good luck with that.
well, I'm like, there's a
You know,
whole
some of
network.
these celebrities' houses that I've done, I had to go do their house when their staff was out of the house. They didn't even want their staff to know. And I'm talking butlers and maids and cleaning people. And yeah, some of these, I mean,
What's that like?
well, like, what's that like? It's interesting. For those of you that have done your house, I come in, I sit at your kitchen table or dining room table, and I talk to you, and I don't really go anywhere. I stay right there. The ghosts come to me. But as soon as I started doing celebrity houses, I could do it that way too, but in their houses, I just better check every room just to make sure it's okay.
Well, I mean, you can see so far, right? And most of our houses are only so many square feet. I mean,
Right.
you want to make sure you're getting to that other end, that third pool at the end of the house.
Right, or the second guest house in the back. We better make sure nothing's in the guest houses too.
At that back property lot.
Yeah. And well, the one house needed 56 seeds.
Holy cow.
Ted, why is that cat carrying on? He's playing with Nemo. We'll throw Nemo down the basement steps so he goes down there and plays with Nemo.
Aw. Is that Bill or Bob?
That's Bill, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it's Bill.
Poor Bill. All right. So, Haunted Housemaid says, I'm praying for the poor souls, especially this week. People from my past are coming to me in my dreams. Is this a result of prayers for the poor souls? Do these souls need prayers?
Okay. All Saints Day was the first. All Souls Day was yesterday, the second. And you realize Catholics have thrown out purgatory. There is no purgatory anymore. There's so much stuff they've gotten rid of. But there's no purgatory. And so, yeah, in my opinion, some of these people still need our prayers. Absolutely. And that is probably why you were having dreams of them. And the next time you have a dream of one of these people, ask them if they still need prayers. And keep this in mind. A lot of people don't realize this. Mom died, grandma died, and when you were cleaning out the drawers or the nursing home dresser or something, you found her rosary. And she wanted to be buried with a very specific rosary. So, this rosary is so pretty, I'm going to keep it. Great, do that. Don't worry about that. I have a habit of anytime I ever stop at any place where there's anything used, and if there's any rosaries, I buy them, because I think it's disgusting to see a rosary for sale someplace. That's nun speaking. I'm sorry. So, but I found out something. You decide to say a rosary on grandma's rosary, all the prayers on that rosary are going to go to grandma, not to you. If you get a used rosary, a new rosary, even grandma's rosary, if you want the prayers to be for you, take it to your priest and have him bless it for you so that it is your rosary. And it can be your rosary and you're saying those prayers for grandma. But if it's a rosary that you got at a garage sale, who knows who the prayers are going for, which is fine. But if you're praying for yourself, then make sure it's your rosary.
Let's see. Here's an interesting question. Michelle says, if someone crossed over but went to hell, can they still come visit?
Yeah, they can. Think about the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. The guy that killed him was from the dark, and he was back and forth and everywhere too. So absolutely same difference. And when I do houses, that one house that I did that's in When Ghosts Speak, He said he would go with the light, I made the light, and he went right into a cesspool instead. So absolutely, they can come back from that too.
Let's see. So there's been some questions about where to get the drain bags and some seeds. So if you go to Marianne's website there, that's where you can find those. Marianne, do you have your little the Refolk oil or solution up yet? Somebody said they were looking for
Is the little folk solution on the website yet? It's going up today or tomorrow, and it's ready to be shipped. And absolutely, and it's a good amount. The amount, and I wish. No, I don't have a bottle up here. There's a bottle in here, he says. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's like I could run away to my book bag.
No, here it is. Here it is. So it's a pretty good, a bottle this size. If you have a standard outside house, maybe about 2,000 square feet, this is probably enough for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you use so little of it. Yeah, don't drink it. No, it says not for consumption. No, no, no. So, but yeah, it's here, and if you need it, you still have to get the millet and do that part yourself, and that's not included, but the instructions are here. And for those of you that don't want to buy the solution already made, then the instructions are definitely on my website too on how to make it yourself.
Okay, yeah, there's requests wanting to see your kitty cats.
Oh my gosh, is Bill around someplace? Can you bring him in? Bob, the slug, the Buddha, is downstairs sleeping. Heaven only knows where he's at down there. So he's the slug in the group. Bill is the big mouth.
The big mouth.
The big mouth, yeah.
I remember in the beginning of us doing this, over a year ago, Sith used to jump up in my lap and kind of get in the screen. Now he sits away on the floor doing his local bride impressions.
Oh, yeah, no. Bill knows that Ted's trying to catch him. Maybe before we're done. No, he's going around the circle. You're not getting me.
Yes, Carolyn, it was good to meet you. She said, for haunted restaurants, I had suggested the Burtwin Tavern in Brecksville with the owner who still haunts the place. Have you tried Johnny Mangoes or Lot Keepers? Not yet, but I got a growing list, and I'm going to have some downtime here in the next couple weeks that I'll probably be doing a lot of phone calls. And
Burtwood Tavern was the old Spanish tavern years ago. It was done then. It was a pizza parlor for a while. It was done then. I was just at Burtwood Tavern for a wedding shower.
Ghostesses?
It needs to be done again. So apparently everybody that has bought it has taken the seeds down. So yes, that could be done again. And I actually did a talk there when it was a pizza place. There is room to do a talk there. Johnny Mangoes, when the Underwoods owned it. That's Matt Underwood, who is the sportscaster for the Cleveland Indians. When him and his wife owned it, and it's in one of the books. I did do Johnny Mangoes and did talks there, a number of talks there, and they do not own it anymore. And that is not a restaurant because they don't sell any, none of their, what is it, vegan, vegetarian? They're one of those. I don't know what they are.
I think the website said vegetarian.
Yeah.
Tab 36.
Okay. And so, they got rid of it. And I believe at one of the new owners was a relative. So I would hope the seeds are still up. I haven't been in since, so I do not know. Lock Keepers. Oh, that's a whole new bottle of wax at Lock Keepers. That place really could use a good cleaning. But I seriously doubt if the owner of that would even consider it. You could check, but I sort of doubt it.
Yeah, I'll have some downtime coming up. So I'll be doing a lot of phone calling and emailing. So in the meantime, I've been collecting and talking with people who know actual managers and owners and kind of putting out feelers too. So
One of Tara, for those of you that know Tara, my daughter, she did a lot of the Melt restaurants.
oh,
And one of Matt's original stores is in Lakewood. And now that Tara's living back in Ohio, he just got hold of her and he said, you did that store about 15, 20 years ago. I think it needs done again. So before she does it, she was going to talk to him. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
hey.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're going to break out of this mold. We have to break out of this mold we're in.
Well, right now we got the holidays coming up, so I'm not really pressed for anything before the end of the year.
Right.
And then we've got snow. So this is all going to be stuff spring on. So we're going to go from like this drought of events to like, holy crap.
Yeah. Let's just keep going with the Wednesday morning stuff and the Zooms. In January, we'll start doing 2 again a month. For November, December, we're only going to do 1. People are busy with the holidays, so we're not going to do more than 1. And I will be in the store again in December, for those that are looking for Christmas gifts and a talk again. And then that'll be it for this year. I mean, it's November.
I know it's already the end of 2021.
I don't know where this year went. I just don't understand.
So here's a question from our friend Celtic Curandera. Question. I have captured moving orbs on video multiple times in our home. They move around us in various directions. Otherwise, our home is calm and tranquil. Are these earthbound spirits or ancestors?
No, they are people from the light. They are not earthbound. And you can tell the difference on the orb. If the orb has got a design in the middle, enlarge it and you will see a side profile or a face of who it is. That can be a spirit guide, it could be your guardian angel, and yes, it could be your great grandmother or grandmother. It could be any one of those, but they are definitely from the light. If it is blank, the orb is blank, it's a dust particle, it's nothing. They can be any size orb, they can be any color, they can be sparkly. But if they're perfectly round, they're definitely an orb.
So let's see. Lots of love coming up about the podcast. The podcast is called When Ghosts Speak, just like the book title. We're pretty much on everything except for iTunes. That has been my nemesis. Apple is really giving me the runaround. So I'm sorry if you're an iTunes fan for podcasts, but we are on everything else. Audible, Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, you name it, we're there. Just Apple is giving me so much grief. And Marianne, I think you have the link like right on your website. So you could go to Marianne's website and just click the link and listen. So.
Yeah, it is. And people are texting the webmaster telling him that we've been hacked because I'm apparently it's asking to be a friend or whatever to sign up. And here these people are already signed up and they're thinking that they're being hacked. Well, they're asking you to sign up for When Ghosts Speak. That's for the podcast. You're not being hacked, and I'm not. That's hacked, stolen, hacked. I'm using a word I have no idea what it means.
Yeah, so much technical lingo here.
No, don't need it.
So Tony says, Marianne, what is a spirit guide? Do you have one? Does everyone have one?
Yes, everybody does. Your constant is your guardian angel. I think your guardian angel actually shows up maybe 4 to 6 weeks before you're born. And if all else fails and you want to get to the light and you don't see a relative, they will take you. They are your constant from the second you're born till the second you die. At any given time, you have spirit guides. Even infants have 1 or 2 spirit guides. As you get older, you need more spirit guides to guide you through life, jobs, emotions, religion, for anything. And when you are 40s, 50s, I imagine that they say 13 to 16 spirit guides every person has. You live in a house with your husband and 4 kids, and everybody's spirit guides, you got a crowd. There, your house is never empty. But as you get older, you don't have as many spirit guides. You don't need them anymore. So sometimes by the time you die, you only have 2 or 3, like you did when you were an infant. But spirit guides are always with you. Your relatives, when they die, do not become angels. They stay who they are. Angels are angels. They were created. They are a species of their own. Spirit guides, however, can be people that have crossed over and are guides, but they got to be really smart people to be a guide. So, yeah.
I think mine's just flustered, drinks all the time.
Oh, so your guy's a party guide.
Just more of like completely stressed out. like this person. Here we go again. Let's see. I'm making notes here of all of the recommendations or suggestions coming in. Let's see. Have you heard of the Crease and Sanatorium in PA?
Never heard of that one. I wonder what part of PA it's in. Philadelphia is a little too far. Pittsburgh, yeah. Yeah, you'll drive great.
I got a big old car, will fit. And then we just make it an overnight and maybe 2 events going. See, there's ways around this. Hang on, guys. I'm making notes, like all the tabs. Did I tell you how like my phone browser crashed not too long ago because I had like 78 tabs open for all of the stuff, and Google just went, "I'm done."
See, and I'm sure 99.999% of people know what you're talking about. I am not in that percentage because I'm sure I don't have tabs, whatever that is.
No, because you don't have a cell phone and you don't touch the computer. Ted might know the tabs.
That's one thing that I should try. I should do it every time I get in front of one of these things. You need to call me and leave a message, or you need to write in the mail with the stamp. I do not see anything written on a computer, ever. So people that are calling, I left 18 times on your computer. I never saw one of them. So if you need me to talk to you personally, you need to call and leave a message. And I've caught up. I've got about 350 more people to call. So I'm doing better. Don't laugh. That's better. There were over 600 at what point. So this is good. But letters I read. I get letters every day. And I know postage went up. But if you got a ghost and you want to get rid of it, right.
Can you smudge a rosary to make it work for you? Or does it need to be blessed by the priest?
It has to be blessed by an ordained priest.
Okay. Tracy, kind of long question, but she says, went to a Catholic school for years. When my parents divorced, one of the fathers was new and young, and I really bonded with him. I was 6, 7 years old. Found out he killed himself because he was drinking and hurt someone driving. Just an awful story all around. I prayed for him. That night dreamt he laid a bright red cross on the ground in front of me. I didn't see him. I saw a hand, but felt it was him. Do you think that's enough to let me know he did cross over?
Absolutely. You got your answer because you saw him in a dream or knew it was him in a dream. Earthbound spirits cannot get into dreams.
How much knowledge do you have on the different realms of heaven? I know there's 7, but that's all I can really tell you.
Yeah, and I think, the highest being where, say, Mother Teresa went in, and this is the thing, when you go to the light and you end up in the first or the second or the third realm, if you're happy there, You don't have to be reincarnated if you're happy. If you want to go higher up, though, then you've got to be reincarnated and get it right, hopefully. And when you go back in, you'll be on a higher level.
Let's see. Somebody suggested a pizza place down by Amityville, and I'm all about pizza, so I'll be doing some Googling there. I think Adam suggested it. Adam, if you know the name, type the name in for me, hun. Oh, I'm trying to find Poodle Pants. Looks like she made a recommendation, but I can only see the second part where it says they serve all food. I don't see the first part of it. Oh, see, we used to go to Carrie Sereno's, but Carrie Sereno's is no more.
No, it's certainly not. 15 years of doing the buffet and a talk there for Halloween. The last 2 years I've missed it. The first year it was like, well, it was COVID and everything, but this year they're not there anymore. And I miss it. I really do. I enjoy talking to people, but I really like seeing people when I talk to them. I like to look in their eyes and talk to them. And so I that's what I really miss.
So November Zoom is November 19th. It's a Friday night. Starts 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please be mindful of your time change if you're not on the Eastern time coast here.
And our time changes this weekend. We go
I'm
back
looking forward to an extra hour sleep.
Yeah, fall back. So you get an extra hour.
It's the little things in life.
Yeah.
Here is a really fun question. I don't know how we could get this pulled off. Danielle says, can you get access to Cedar Point for a walkthrough? That'd be way haunted and way fun, I think.
Yes, it is definitely haunted. And what would worry me the most for the people that work there, especially when the season is over, those ghosts aren't going to stay there because nobody is there. How many of those people are they going home with to winter over with them till they can come back when Cedar Point opens up again? There was a little amusement park. It was something like, golly, say the mind's the first to go. I mean, there was Jogga Lake and Cedar Point. I have the person that bought all the property for Jogga Lake. That was just bought a few years ago by a conglomeration. And that place was so haunted that Ted and I and two of the owners walked that place for almost 10 hours, getting rid of negative energy and ghosts. And all of that is being torn down, and they are building houses on the property. And so, yes, that place was very haunted. I still haven't done, because beside buying Jogga Lake, the other side that was bought was SeaWorld. And there's issues over there too, but
somebody threw in SeaWorld.
Yeah, exactly. Well, people got killed over at SeaWorld. Yeah, some boat was doing. No, you can look it up. Apparently, I don't know. We weren't living here at the time, but apparently during one of those where they pull so many water skiers on a boat, and the boat came out of the water and ended up in the audience, and a number of people seriously got hurt. And I don't know. I know for sure some people died, but I don't know how many. So yeah, there's. Ted, do you remember that little amusement park that was down by the lake, down in Medina? Chippewa Lake. There you go. That's what it was called.
And else threw that in.
Yeah, that was real hard. And that was an amusement park too. And it's crazy because when that got torn down, there was a couple of residential streets very close to where that was. And all the ghosts just went in those houses. And when I did some of those houses, they told me that that's where they used to be at Chippewa Lake.
You know, it's like I vaguely have a little bit of a memory of SeaWorld as a little kid, and some Cedar Point. 'Cause somebody asked, for those of us not local, what is a Cedar Point?
It's a huge, huge, huge amusement park with the lake and water, and oh my gosh, it is huge. I have to laugh. I had houses to do in, well, I think this one was Texas, and we stayed at there. That was one of those houses that probably needed 40 seats on it. So we stayed in the guest house there, and they wanted to take us to Six Flags because it was the best amusement park in the whole world, beside Disney World. And I'm sorry, I really don't like Six Flags compared to Cedar Point. Cedar Point is, if you're a roller coaster person, you need to go to Cedar Point.
You know, and it's funny because I lived in Maryland for a while. Actually, graduated out of Fort Meade, and there is a amusement park out there, and it's the sister park to Cedar Point. And I, for the life of me, cannot think of what it is.
I didn't know they had these sister amusement parks. Did not even.
This has been a while. I'm assuming it's still in operation, but it was big, like Adventure World, maybe Adventureland, something like that. And it was,
people died at Euclid Beach Park too. My grandmother, she was only in her 20s or 30s, and whatever that roller coaster was, that roller coaster was terrible. I mean, it was all wooden. Oh gosh, it was so wobbly and scary. And she was in like the middle of one of the carts, and a little kid slipped out of the front cart going down the hill, and Grandma caught her coming down the hill and just held on to her for the rest of the ride. Otherwise, that kid would have just went. Well, there's a lot of weird accidents. Well, didn't some kid just get killed in an amusement park somewhere out west? It was the mine cart or something broke its thing and went down, and she got killed. Accidents happen.
Ever since I moved into the apartment, like I don't have local TV. Everything I have is streaming, so I don't have.
Okay.
And I'm kind of glad for it because I don't want to be inundated with all of the negative stuff. So here's a very interesting, could be debatable, and we won't have time to do it, which is why I've saved this kind of towards the end. For those of us Catholics and recovering Catholics. Don says, if the Catholics, or any religion for that matter, can do away with purgatory or anything other belief, does that mean that that belief wasn't valid? And how does Jesus or God feel about it?
Well, being that Jesus and God are from the light, and I can't talk to people in the light, I don't know what they think about it. But it's a proven fact that if you went to a museum in New York and saw a Bible that was written or transcribed in the 10th or 11th century, it would look nothing like the Bible that we have now. Because every time the Bible was rewritten by apostles or whoever did it, they took stuff out, or they didn't put stuff in that they thought that would upset people. So who knows what is right or wrong? Remember, you couldn't be buried in a Catholic cemetery if you died with mortal sin. You couldn't be died You couldn't be died in a Catholic cemetery if you committed suicide. And when you die with mortal sin, you ended up in purgatory until you got enough prayers for you that you got released. They at least haven't thrown out baptism yet. But they may be working on that. I don't know. Just like for those of you that are a little bit older, don't you remember that when we made our first communion, how the nuns screamed, never put your fingers in your mouth, you can't touch Jesus. And if somebody went and, oh, you have no idea. If you puked after you had communion, the little janitor man would run over with the stinky pink stuff to throw on it, and the priest would come down and get the hose because they can't cut Jesus. My mother, when I made my first communion, you weren't allowed to have water after midnight. My mother put big bows on all the faucets, so if I got up in the middle of the night, I wouldn't accidentally drink a glass of water. And now you can go to McDonald's, cross the street, go to communion. The priest will hand you the host and give you the cup to drink wine out of. Everything gets thrown out. Everything. So that's my answer for you. I don't really know.
Right. It's, it's funny. Over on my store's podcast, Box Wine and Witchcraft, Zach and I did an episode, Recovering Christians, and how, both of us from different Christian faiths. And, one of the fun questions was, how did I exit the church? And I'm like, I slowly backed out the back door, when nobody was looking. He proclaimed he ran out the front door. But it's funny because in my healing work, like, there is a statue of Mary, and that's a whole other, we don't have time for this.
Right. No. And
I'm anti-Catholic because
right.
I'm still a conservative Catholic.
Right. And I'm still finding that even though the rule has changed and you can't do this, you can't do this, now you can be cremated. Remember, you weren't even allowed to be cremated. Now you can be cremated. But I think it's really bizarre that even though that is the rule of the church, now you can be cremated. My girlfriend's father died, and her mom wanted to have him cremated, so she did. And they went to the church to make the arrangements for his mass. And the priest at this particular parish said she wanted his ashes to be brought in and placed in front of his picture, during the mass and everything. And this particular pastor of this church said, absolutely not. No cremated bodies are allowed in my church. I don't care what the Pope says. Okay, then. So my girlfriend said to me, my mother didn't take that well. I said, no, I bet not. And she said, yeah, watch my mother when she comes in. I said, okay. So Ted and I are there. We're waiting in the church. And here comes her mom walking down the aisle, carrying a shopping bag. And she sat down in the front row and sat the shopping bag right down next to her. And there were the ashes. He was going to be there one way or the other.
Those are my kind of people. Like,
it was like, oh, you go, girl. Good for you.
Oh, better late than never. Lewis.
Oh, we're almost done, Lewis.
It's okay. He can go back and listen later. He's trying to sleep. I get it. Let's see. Did we talk about Amityville? I think we did on the podcast. Melody says, I watched the recent documentary that the Amityville demonic possession story was all a hoax for the purpose of making millions of dollars. Was it truly a hoax?
I don't know. I know the Warrens from Connecticut went and cleared that house at some point before he died. As far as I know, I don't know if she's still alive or not. I know he died a number of years ago. I don't know. I've never been there. I think that I would have joked when I saw the movie the first time, thinking, I've never seen that. Thank God. I've never seen that. Thank God. I've never seen that. Thank God. But the interesting thing is that I'm positive 90% of it was Hollywood because of Ghost Whisperer. How many times have I said that if what Jennifer Love Hewitt went through on Ghost Whisperer happened to me, I'd have a heart attack. I wouldn't go in people's houses if that stuff happened. So I'm going to say that's probably the same thing for any of those, poltergeist, any of those. Because of poltergeist, everybody thinks that their house is built on a cemetery. Wrong. Doesn't happen.
Well, and you know me, I can be kind of cynical. The whole earth is a cemetery. People are migratory. People were transients across, the United States during the gold rush, looking for farmland, the native peoples. It could be a dead body every square foot.
You have more of a chance of building a house on top of a dead body if property is cleared, especially an orchard, a fruit orchard. Because when people were traveling from east to west, if somebody died en route, they usually buried them underneath an orchard if they were available. And so it doesn't make any difference. The body, just like people say, well, I'm not going to put the ashes on my mantle. I don't want him around. They don't care. Don't worry about it. Just don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to care. I'm gone. Do what you want.
That's right.
Donate me to science. I don't care.
Yeah.
Being the true crime fan that I am, go donate me to the body farm, where they set the bodies up in different ways to see how it decomposes. So that's how they know, like, they've been dead for X amount of time and this and that, because they actually watch it happen.
I guess CSI has to learn.
That's right.
You never know, right?
Okay, Marian, is your letters today, are they more from the WTF pile?
No, I still can't get my head around these. These are some really bizarre questions in those letters. The other ones were crazy, but these are really nuts. No, today are kids. All of a sudden, I got this whole bunch of letters about what's happening to these people's children. So, no, these are kids today. Makes me nuts when they mess with kids. So, yeah, today's kids.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. The podcast went live today, third round, and that was, what did we do? Portals.
Yes.
And we covered more of what doesn't cause them. So
right.
A lot of misconceptions. Just because two mirrors are facing one another does not mean you have a portal.
I don't know. I think people that are legitimate psychics or readers, I mean, if they're just not good or not legitimate, they really can't do what they say they're doing. They throw people, you've got portals in your house, or you are, an empath. No, not happening. I've never met so many empaths in my life as I have in the last year.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody is an empath. Everybody. It's a human nature skill, whether or not you pay attention to it.
Don't you feel bad when you know somebody's sick or dying? You're being, that's part of what that is. But the definition that these people are getting with empath is totally wrong. Totally wrong.
I mean, if you walk in and you can feel the tension in the room because somebody was fighting,
you know it.
You're an empath.
Yeah.
You know your coworker's having a bad day before you even speak to them. You're an empath. Everybody is an empath. Some of us get it more strongly when we become parents, right? Because we're tuned into our kids. So
It's learned. Exactly. And I'm sure there is a true group of empaths that can look at you and tell you exactly what part of your heart isn't working, or, where there's a tumor in your body. But those people are far and few between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, make sure you have somebody who's credible, that people can back them up.
Do your homework.
Let's see. Real quick, Marianne. Yes, pets, animals can become earthbound. You have one.
I do. My Bashan is still with me for over 30 years now. The only other one that I know for sure that stayed, there were two, both of them were German Shepherds. They both stayed. But usually you have a relative that they're familiar with, or there's another pet that was a brother or a sister or a friend to the pet that died. They see them in the light, and they are going to just hightail it right in there to go play with their buddies. So 9 times out of 10, your pets cross over. Somebody called the other day and said, my pet's ready to die. I don't want them to go to the light. I want them to stay. How do I do it?
Oh,
I have no idea. It's their choice. It is not your choice. Nobody. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
All right. So we have a email for the podcast, whenghostspeakpod@gmail.com. Please send in any more recommendations or suggestions for places, topics. If you have worked for Marianne or haven't worked for her, if she's done work for you and you would like us to share, please send in those stories. Or if you have stories, give us some stuff to work with so we're not just repeating some of the stuff on the podcast.
Right. And there's a gal named Julie that I've done work for that sent me a really nice letter about 2 weeks ago. And Julie, if you're listening to this today, would you please call with your phone number? I can't find a way to get in touch with you. So.
All right. I think we went over our hour as we normally do because we can chat for hours with everybody. But so thanks for joining us. We will check out the podcast if you haven't. But otherwise, we do these almost every Wednesday.
That's exactly right. And this is fun. So try to tell people to come on and get their questions answered.
Yeah, please share the lives, share the podcast, get more people involved. We love the questions. We love the interaction. And come spring, hopefully we'll be able to love everybody in person too. So
that's right. Looking forward to that again. So
yes.
Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Bye, guys.